Welcome, everybody. For the first time in World Championship history, we arrive to the capital city of New Zealand. Auckland welcomes the Verizon Champ Car World Series, and it's all here on ABN. We're glad you're with us for a 90-lap race around the Glen Eden Street Circuit, the regular home of the Katoto Music Festival here in New Zealand. Now plays host to a symphony of sound of a different kind here today. It's been a whirlwind 2 races, and the whirlwind will keep rolling. The first World Championship race of any kind in New Zealand this side of the new millennia. You have to go back to the 1960s the last time there was a World Championship race of any kind here in New Zealand. That would have been back in 1968, the era of Bruce McLaren, to put a timestamp on how long it has been. The question marks from Shanghai amplify after the first couple days here in New Zealand. Is Chevrolet already struggling with that twin-turbo V4 engine? And just as it was a week ago in Shanghai, only one Chevrolet getting into Q3 yesterday. David Wessel starts in the 5th row of the field. All the other Chevrolets didn't get that far. Pretty big question marks, though. Texas coming up will be an even bigger litmus test for the Bowtie brand. The first oval of the season in 2 weeks' time. The first World Series pole for Rachel Koivuniemi. Arrowhead Racing winning in Shanghai last time out with Siri Lundqvist, who starts 4th. It's the reigning IndyCar national champion Koivuniemi that will lead the field to green alongside the defending world champion Evangeline Porter here today. The big news coming out going into this weekend was that there were 5 new manufacturers approved to begin the process to join the 2026 Champ Car grid. Ferrari, Hyundai, Lamborghini, Lotus, and Mercedes trying to join the already pretty crowded group of Chevrolet, Toyota, Honda, Ford, and Dodge. Potentially 10 manufacturers in total by the time we get to the start of the season next year. Still some approval steps that's needed, though, for these 5 new manufacturers. They need a works team. They need a customer team. So it isn't just signing some paperwork and providing engines. There's some work to do behind the scenes in the paddock to try to plug the holes and get all the check marks needed to join the field. There's also the rumblings of potential already early moves to try to replace drivers and sort of shuffle drivers around the grid. So Autosport, not happy with where they've been right now. Phantom Motors, not happy with where they have been to kick off the season. Striker Motorsports, all over the place. Not at the front of the field, though, here today, and that's a problem for a team that was hoping to be at the sharp end of the stick like they were in Melbourne at the start of the season. Your starting grid's going to look a little bit like this. Front of the field, it's Rachel Koivuniemi and Evangeline Porter, first and second. Caitlin Chiaro, the rookie for Lotus Motorsports, alongside Siri Lundqvist in row 2. Chiaro, again, being the most impressive rookie of the bunch. There are 3 in the field today. Not just Chiaro and Koivuniemi, but also Solomon Wells for Phantom Motors. We'll talk about him in a second. Wyatt Jones, his best qualifying effort this season so far, getting hit up to terms with the packages that the team has brought finally. Just tough for the change in 2 weeks when we head to Texas and they get to run the ovals for the first time. But he should be a little more comfortable on the ovals anyway. He starts alongside the local favorite, the hometown driver, Hazel Leon, who starts in row 3 alongside him. Alicia Kovalkiewicz starts alongside Artem Kozlov in row 4. David Wessel, the lone Chevrolet in the top 10 right now, row 5 alongside Phantom Motors' Catherine Hart, who once again made a Q3 appearance like she did in Melbourne 3 weeks ago. BK Glover and Sakura Ishibashi just missed out on making Q3. They start in row 6. Andrew Draco, the second Phantom Motors cars, sits row 7 alongside Elise Alexander. Astra Crane, Oliver Germain in row 8. Isabel Espinoza sitting in row 9 alongside Nicole Lechty, Simona Leroux, Maria Chavez will round out your top 20 here on the starting grid. And then your last 5 rows today, we have 29 cars. Natalia Vulicevic and Cameron Jackson are in row 11. This is Vulicevic's 3rd straight race, qualifying 21st on the grid. Impeccable consistency, but it's Q1 eliminations all the way through for the 8 car. Cameron Jackson alongside, also out in Q1. Same with Shufan Zhang, the teammate there for Cameron Jackson. Dragon Motorsports struggling early still to kick off this campaign. Not alone in that struggle, though. Kinemitsu Kinoshita for Cat Devil Racing alongside Shufan Zhang in row 12. Stephanie Porter-Kelly, back qualifying continues after crashing in Shanghai. Qualifies 25th alongside the debuting Solomon Wells. 5-race deal this season, including the Indianapolis 500 in May. But if he's going to be the future of the program, they need to try him at a bunch of different racetracks, including the street circuits. They're giving him a shot here, knowing that Auckland will be on the calendar the next 4 years. Matheus Michelin in row 14 alongside Karina Sakurauchi. Brad Neri from South Autosport rounding out the rear of the field here in Auckland. Does not help him at all in the circumstances. In the points as they go, David Wessel leads the way in the points. Stephanie Porter-Kelly, 2nd place. It's Chevrolet 1st and 2nd points as they run. Porter-Kelly carried heavily by the points earned from the domination in Melbourne. Siri Lundqvist, winner in Shanghai 7 days ago, up in that conversation as well. BK Glover, consistency has been a pretty pivotal part of the conversation for him. Can he get back to the top 10 conversation here today? Richard Koivanemi, 2 top 10s for the Finnish driver. Looking pretty good to try to continue that streak here from the front of the field. Caitlin Chiaro, a pole position in Shanghai at top 10. Looking for more in 6th. Asher Crane, Alicia Kovalkiewicz, Hazel Leon, and Nicole Lechty, your top 10 in the points. 23 of 28 drivers going into this weekend have scored points. There'll be 29 that have started a race by the time this race is over. We'll see how the points stack up at the end on the driver's side. The team's conversation is also interesting. Arrowhead Racing leads the way by a healthy margin. Their success in Shanghai echoed between Lundqvist and Koivanemi. I guess, and Kovalkiewicz. Kovalkiewicz was a big point scorer in Melbourne, finished on the podium there. So all 3 drivers have been pretty well robust in the points. That's an important facet to think about here. Highlight Racing, they have been good. They have not been exceptional. Really good race in Shanghai with David Wessel finishing 2nd. But they missed the mark in Melbourne, so they've got a little bit of catch-up to do. Level Motorsports really waking up finally. Got all 3 of those cars in the points in Shanghai. They weren't high-scoring points, but they were points. Good point in the right direction. Same for Verizon Team Impulse. Getting those cars into the points is critical. If you're a 3-car team, you should have a mathematical advantage. The fact that the 2-car teams are hanging in there so tightly makes it a bit of a question mark. Cat Devil Racing, they have stumbled out of the blocks here. They spent a year with Ford last year, back to Honda as a factory team, as a works team. But getting back up the turns with the Honda engine is being difficult here. RACECAR Racing, the only 1-car team in the field this season. Almost level with them. 18 points for RACECAR Racing. Topic Autosport. Started off the season super slow in Melbourne. Picked up the pace in Shanghai last week. We'll try to do so here with Porter on the front row in Auckland. So it's Autosport looking for more than just 6 points. Simona Leroux, the only breadwinner so far through the first 2 races. Brad Neri starting in dead last. It does not seem likely that that's going to change here in New Zealand. Dragon Motorsports, likewise, will be struggling to find more points. They've only got 4 to their total, and they start outside the top 20 here today. The Scuderia Ghia have a chance. Maria Chavez got a lap led, got a point for the team in Shanghai. Isabel Espinoza starting in the points. Will try to stay there across 90 laps here in Auckland. And Phantom Motors, Catherine Hart, the only point scorer for the team back in Melbourne 3 weeks ago. Qualifying looks a lot better for the team, though, this go around. We'll see if that sticks for the 13 and 31 of Draco and Hart, respectively, after today's race. It's almost time to send a track sides. Let's go ahead and get ready for those most famous words in all of motorsports. And let's get this party started in New Zealand.
Drivers, start your engines!
That was the command to fire engines here in Auckland. 90 laps set to begin. As we mentioned, the symphony of sound in the form of the Champ Car World Series comes to the Katoda Music Festival. The Dodge Charger Super Beat. Leading the way. 9-turn road course here, the street circuit around Glen Eden and Acton Park. This is turn 4 they're rolling through right now. You cannot go full throttle through turn 4. The drivers have learned that the hard way this weekend. It falls away from you. It falls down into the right. Makes it very difficult to keep it flat out here. You do have to try to line it up perfectly for turns 6 and 7, which is this combination right here. Joint weekend between Champ Car and the V8 Supercars series. That was the talking point all throughout the weekend so far, was that particular complex and how difficult it is to get it right. The field bunching together as we get ready to go racing. Pace car will pull down pit lane here. It is at leader's discretion. And Koivanemi chooses now. The Grand Prix Auckland is underway. We're racing in New Zealand. And Koivanemi grabs control. Chiaro tried to follow through, couldn't. So Porter will hold on to second, closest in on the braking zone for turn 2. Lundqvist in 4th. But we are underway. Koivanemi leads the way for Porter, Chiaro, and Lundqvist. Everyone running the tight and narrow around here. You can see on full display the alternate Firestone tires. Softer, not as durable, but provide more grip on the outset. Expecting a 3 pit stop race here today. 3 pit stops, looking at about 25 to 28 laps at most. If you're trying to go 2 stops, you have to get about 30 laps. And no team feels confident that they can do that right now. Lundqvist out in... sorry, not Lundqvist. That is Koivanemi out in front. Lundqvist in 4th. Exactly where she started. The top 6. Largely where they started this race. Koivanemi getting that jump out of the final corner, turn 9. Driver control on that initial start once the pace car was off pit lane. Caught the field off guard. Ishibashi trying to close on the Catherine Hart for that 10th spot. Glover in 12th, Draco in 13th, 14th and 15th for Railfly and Oliver Germain, and Elise Alexander, Jermaine in that last points-paying position ahead of Astrid Crane at the moment. This is where you'll find some of those position changes on the opening lap. Isabel Espinoza already outside the points. Ahead of Nicole Lechty and Simona Leroux. Maria Chavez, Cameron Jackson, Natalia Velicevic, Kimitsu Kenosha, Shufan Zhang, Solomon Wells, Daphne Porter-Kelly, Karina Sakurauchi, Mateus Michelin, Brad Neri still running in that 29th spot as Koivu leads the way. Not a lot of passing zones to make things happen here. Only 2 heavy braking zones. Whoa, trouble! Koivu tagged the fence. Out of turn 7. Keeps it rolling. After avoiding that car entering a full-on spin. And she's not the only one. That's Glover that's lost spots too. Driver's over-ambitious early on here. And it hands the lead over to Evangeline Porter. The positions will change hands here. It's Porter, Chiaro, and Lundqvist now in the top 3. Jones in 4th, Leon in 5th. Kovalkiewicz in 6th. 7th is Wessel. 8th is Captain Hart. 9th is where you'll find the pole sitter Koivu at now. An unforced error out of turn 7 for both Koivu and for BK Glover. Glover now well and truly out of the points. Draco up to 10th. Jermaine and now 11th. Ishibashi 12th. After everyone stacked up there behind Glover. His mistake a little bit more serious, but he is still rolling on the racetrack here. Kozlov now in 13th. Alexander still 14th. And Crane now in the final points paying spot, 15th place. Espinoza 16th, 17th Lechty, 18th Leroux, Chavez 19th, Glover down to 20th. Jackson 21st still, and the bottom order of this group has not significantly changed on that go-around. And you saw the tire marks. Glover lost his car going into turn 6. Hence the stack up, everyone trying to pick a lane to avoid the stricken number 6 machine as he was trying to get that car rolling once again. Porter leads the defending IndyCar World Champion. We talked about her slow start of the season. No points in Melbourne. Got the decent haul in Shanghai. And now a chance to really mark an authoritative stake in the 2025 campaign. Now leading ahead of the rookie, Caitlin Chiaro, the most impressive rookie of the bunch in the World Series this season. Only 2 full-time rookies with Chiaro and Sakurauchi, but you also have Solomon Wells running in 5 races. Creative Racing has a extra car that they plan on running for 5 races as well. Mia Vitsut will be taking part in some of those events, but not confirmed for all 5 of those races in the 35 car for the Honda Works team. Chiaro in 2nd. Lundqvist is the fastest of the 3 at the front of the field at the moment. Last time around, this time around, consistency for Porter, almost identical lap times, 107.62 the last 2 laps for Porter, 107.5 for Chiaro, 107.53 for Lundqvist. 400 faster than Chiaro. Jones getting very close to that turn 2 wall. He's in the 107.6 as well, matching the race leader. 107.6 for Leon as well. 107.8 for Kovalkiewicz. The traffic, the dirty air, playing a factor the further down the order you go. Both the full-time Phantom Motors cars in the top 10 after struggling the first 2 races of the season. Missing on the points altogether in Shanghai. Only grabbed 1 point in Melbourne to start the season. Jermaine sitting there in 11th. Sakura Ishibashi in 12th. Artyom Kozlov 13th place. Crane in 14th. Getting around Elise Alexander. Alexander now in the last points paying spot as Crane now tries to catch up and grab more positions here. Personal best for Crane, 107.7 in that lap, getting around Alexander. We'll see what kind of pace Crane can set now in some clean air little bit of space between Crane and Kozlov. Espinoza now sees points on the horizon in front of her, as Alexander tries to hold on. Left 17th, Leroux in 18th, Chavez 19th place at the moment as things currently stand. Glover did come down the pit lane after his incident in turn 6 a couple laps ago. So he has dropped himself down to the 29th position. Last car running at the moment. He is now committed to a 4 pit stop strategy. So the 6th team will need to be a little bit creative to try to get back into this race. Everyone's settling into a groove, getting into that rhythm. Porter faster than Chiaro last time. 107.4 for Porter, 107.6 for Chiaro. Chiaro trying to keep the race leader honest, the defending world champion honest. .107.5 versus 107.3 for Chiaro. 0.3 faster. Chiaro. Not quite fast lap of the race. That is Ishibashi's claim so far, a 107.2. But the top two exchanging blows for lap times at the moment. Ishibashi, as we mentioned, set the fastest lap, 107.221 for Ishibashi, sitting there now behind Oliver Germain. Germain has set 107.5s the last couple laps. Draco trying to apply the pressure to the reigning IndyCar national champion, who has already been pressured into an unforced mistake once in this race, completing the 1/10th mark here in Auckland. Porter's opened the gap up, I think, pretty significantly this lap. 107.4 to 107.7. 0.3 now the gap once more to bring the gap, total gap, I think, up to almost a second. Porter on the straight and narrow at the moment. Has clean air in front of her car. Easiest place in the house. Michelin has not even broken into the 108s yet. Neither is Brad Neri. This group's struggling. Obviously, Dirty Air is going to be the thickest, where you have the most cars in front of you. But this group of cars have not yet gotten into the 107s. There's a car that was in trouble. Is it Crane? Or is it Alicia Kovalkiewicz? It was Kovalkiewicz. Kovalkiewicz with issues out of turn 6 and 7. Now down to the 12th position from 6th. So that's 2 Arrowhead cars that have had issues in turns 6 and 7 now. Does not affect the top 5. It does move Wessel on and company on up. Wessel 6th, Catherine Hart 7th, Koivanimi up a spot again to 8th, Draco 9th, Germain now in the top 10. All 3 11th Motorsport cars, top 10 at the moment. Ishibashi 11th, Kovalkiewicz now in 12th, Kozlov 13th. Will Kovalkiewicz need a pit stop? Is the next question. Crane in 14th, chipping away at closing back in on that group, just ahead. Now Alexander trying to hold on to the last points paying spot at the moment. Is acting as the floodgate for the mid-pack. Kovalkiewicz not coming down pit lane yet. Maybe got away with one. Koivuniemen's not come down pit lane yet. So maybe they have gotten a little bit lucky there. Koivuniemen's lap times also have not suffered, so if there's any damage, it's not being indicated here by the lap times. Not being indicated by lap times for Kovalkiewicz either, still in the 107.5s. So I think they have counted their blessings in a way that DK Glover could not. Top 5, pretty level spacing. Wyatt Jones, his personal best, the 107.5 was set on that last go-around. Still off the mark compared to Lundqvist, Chiaro, and Porter at the moment. Porter, 107.575 that time around. Chiaro, 107.4. There's a game of tenths and hundredths at the moment at the front of the field here in Auckland. With the top 5 enjoying now a little bit more relative comfort with that gap that was filled by Kovalkiewicz. Russell now sitting in the 108s. His tires beginning to feel the effects of that prolonged time in dirty air. Captain Hart closing in. Koivuniemen closing in, excuse me. Andrew Draker closing in. And you have Oliver Germain and company in this next group. And Asher Crane getting closer, setting personal bests. Lap after lap here to try to close in. And Alexander still holding off on that 15th position, trying to stay ahead of Isabel Espinoza. Riding on board with the Argentine. Turn 8 and 9, the last 2 corners of the racetrack. Runs wide there in turn 8. Opens the gap up. Driving really hard trying to catch up to the 30 here. Missed the apex of turn 8 and turn 1. Hits the apex there in turn 2. Really close to gap there through 6 and 7. But I don't think it's going to quite be enough here. Right on the gearbox there of Alexander, but washes out, misses the apex again to turn 8. And holds on to the top 10 position at the moment. Wessel and Hart pulling away from Koivuniemen just a little bit. Everyone's still in the 107, just 107.5 versus 107.7 between Hart and Koivuniemen there. 107.4 for Leon, personal best last lap for the Kiwi, the hometown hero. 4/10 slower that time around. Wyatt Jones, 107.7. 107.3 for Lundqvist, personal best. but nowhere to take it because where the top two are at right now. Porter has led 13 laps today. This is lap 14 that she is in the lead for. Trying to hang into the position right now. Gets into speed coming out of turn 9, that last corner. Headed on the front straightaway. And you can see the gap. That was Crane that just went by. Here's the gap all the way down to the 15th position where Alexander is holding on to that last points position. Alexander genuinely is the floodgates for that mid-pack at the moment. Porter continues to lead the way. Pretty consistent lap time. 107.6 is the last 3 laps for Porter. Same though can be said for Chiara. After running a 107.3, a 107.6 also befalls the 97 of Lundqvist. .107.5 for Chiaro and Lundqvist compared to 107.6 for Porter. 107.6 for Jones, 107.6 for Leon, 107.6 for Wessel, 107.8 for Catherine Hart, 2/10 off. 108.0 for Koivu. That spin maybe have done a little bit more damage to those tires. They are obviously well past their best here if we're looking at pit stops at between laps 25 and 28. Then you got to kind of hang in there for the next 7 laps, try to get into that window. 107.4 for Germain, though he's starting to find his personal best on the long run here. He has been in traffic most of this race so far. But 107.4 is the fastest of the lead cars in the points positions at the moment. Ishibashi also in the 107.4s, but she has the best lap of the race so far, 107.2. That is not being disputed right now. Kovalevich, 107.8, 107.9 for Kozlov. Make that a 107.4 this time for Kozlov, as everyone tries turning on the jets a little bit. 107.5 for Kozlov, 107.4 for Kozlov, 107.5 for Kovalevich. Asher Crane, 107.3. There's your fastest car of the racetrack at the moment, but has had clean air most of this run after the separation in the pack from the couple of spins we've had through the turn 6-7 complex. Alexander just really trying to hang in there. This pit stop cycle, if they don't have amazing pit stops, they're out of the points. You got to be strategically on it to keep that 30 car in the points positions right now. And Striker Motorsports, I don't think they're going to be happy right now with all 3 cars out of the points again. I don't think that bodes well. Remember, they did well, dominated Melbourne. Outside of a lap-led point for Porter Kelly, all 3 cars out of the top 15 in Shanghai. The frustrating thing if you're Espinosa is that you're fast, you're just not fast enough to get the overlap to get around the 30. The 30 is fast enough in just the right places to be frustrating. Fast in acceleration, slow in the mid-speed, turns 3 through 5. where you don't really have the ability to make a pass. But fast out of the acceleration zones, out of turn 1, out of turn 8, make it just frustrating enough that Alexander's not touchable under green flag conditions right now. Including lap 20 of 90 here around Glen Eden. Bypassing Acton Park now. You see there is Glover, who is still nursing damage following his spin into the turn 6-7 complex there on lap 3. In danger of potentially going a lap down. He does not have a lot of pace right now. 108.5 is where he's sitting at the moment. Now, granted, he has made a pit stop already, so the danger of going a lap down right now is a bit exaggerated, knowing that the leaders still need to make a pit stop. But likewise, he still needs to make a pit stop again, because he's on now a 4-stop strategy. So we're starting to tell where we're going to be at here with this. Porter continues to lead. Yarrow and Lundqvist keeping Porter honest, though. Wyatt Jones a little bit further back. He'll set one of his personal bests, a 107.4 there for him, as he is continually pressured by the hometown hero, Leon. And we're hearing rumors that Leon might try to go a little bit long here in an attempt to lead a lap here at home. Speaking about Leon, there is almost a possibility that we almost saw 2 Kiwi drivers in the field. We're talking about KDW Racing's their 4th car. They have the 32, the 33, the 34, and the 35. Almost saw Jamie Nari-Jardine in the field for this race. The deal fell apart. But there was a possibility that Nari-Jardine, the 2015 IndyCar World Champion, could have had the ability to be in the field. Nari-Jardine is present here in Auckland. But it is a VIP and not as a driver, unfortunately. Porter's pace has slowed a little bit, 107.7. 107.5 for those behind. The accordion is now in effect as these Redwall alternate Firestone Firehawk tires begin to give up the ghost. They've got to push them about a couple more laps here to get to their optimal window, lap 25 to lap 28. We were on lap 23 here in Auckland. .107.5 for Chiaro again. Another 107.7 lap for Porter. These in and out laps are going to be very important too. No doubt. We'll see how things stand after these pit stops take place. No one in pit lane yet. Checking on the back of the field, Porter Kelly behind Karina Salkarauchi. Shufajang up to 23rd, Kenosha 22nd, Velisevich 21st, Cameron Jackson in 20th, and they are all still stuck behind the 30 of Elise Alexander. We'll talk about hot seats. Obviously, Brad Neri's under a hot seat at the moment. I would say Elise Alexander right now is also under a hot seat. Matthias Michelin, I think, is under a hot seat as well. I don't think there's really many people safe there at Striker Motorsports right now. They want to be championship contenders. And to do that, you got to have championship points. Now on lap 25, the pit window is open now. For those on the lead lap and on the three-stop strategy. Kiara really chasing down Porter at the moment. This two-car fight at the front is going to be interesting to see how the pit stops play out. Crane is caught up to the tail end of that secondary pack outside the top 5. And here come your top 2. They all come in. 3rd through 5th stay out. That is Lundqvist that'll grab an extra point for leading a lap. Wyatt Jones in 2nd. Hazel Leon in 3rd. But your top 2 come in early. They're looking undercut. The strategy did not work in Shanghai, but it worked in Melbourne. Maybe it works here in Auckland as well. The street circuits may be proing well. Also, you look at the tire difference. We were on the primaries the last couple of races. We're on the alternates for the first time this season. Wessel stayed out. Catherine Hart stayed out. Koivu stayed out, surprisingly. Going a little bit long. All 3 Arrowhead cars stayed out. Only 2 of the Ludwig cars stayed out. Yarrow coming in to cover off Porter. Keep someone matching the race leader. Lundqvist with clean air is pulled away from Jones a little bit. How about pit stops this time? Is that going to be the case? Yes, it is. Not for Leon. And what we thought was going to happen has happened. Leon, for the first time in the modern era, will lead a World Championship event in the nation of New Zealand. Hometown driver. A Kiwi leading in New Zealand for the first time in a World Championship event. Magical moment for the 34. We thought they might. The car was in a good enough position to try to make that happen. And indeed they have. Alexander a lap down at the moment. But pit stops still need to take place. Draco in 2nd. Germain in 3rd. Ishibashi 4th. Kovalkiewicz, Kozlov all need to make pit stops. This group, they're going to try to make use of the sunshine while it's shining. They're clear of Alexander, and they're trying to push to get ahead of Alexander again. Cars at pit lane, Neri, Michelin. Leon stays out to lead a 2nd lap. We'll see what Alexander's lap time looks like here. First lap out of pit lane. Code 50s down pit lane for this group. Coming down pit lane, Draco, Germain, Ishibashi, Kovalkiewicz, and Kozlov. When we say code 50s, that's 50 kilometers an hour, 37 miles an hour. That is the standard speed limit on road courses in the Champ Car World Series. Espinosa stays out an extra lap here. .107.267. Almost the fastest lap of the race. 2nd fastest of the lap, only behind Ishibashi. The Cat Racing teammates, they have pace. Looking now for track position. I don't know if Hazel Leon's going to get the position, get good enough position to inherit the lead of the race, but could potentially leapfrog the likes of Wyatt Jones or Cyril Lundqvist here. And down pit lane comes the 34, Leon, making that pit stop. How about Alexander? Does the 30 have enough pace? Did they make adjustments on that car to improve? 108.2, the answer to that question is not really. And Alexander will now be stuck behind Simona Leroux, Kunika Noshida, Nicole Lechty, and company. And you look at this. This is what we were worried about. Pit stops, the undercut, covered off by an overcut from Cyril Lundqvist. How about Leon? Service being done for the 34. Not as long of a wait to get to the pit exit here. That was the 5th pit box. Up to speed. Is it for the race lead? 110% it is. Hazel Leon overcut strategy works out a charm. The Kiwi has taken the lead here in New Zealand. Has to get those tires up to temperature quickly. Cold tires on this opening lap. It takes about a lap for those tires to get up to temperature, maybe a little bit longer here with not as long of a lap, not as many corners here at the Glen Eden Street Circuit. But right now, Hazel Leon has grabbed the lead of the race with a 4-lap overcut. And a caution, a brightly timed caution, could almost make this a one more stop race for Leon. Pit on lap 29, almost 30 laps there. If you grab a caution, you can save some fuel on that caution and have a chance. But you see what those cold tires mean under braking. Lundqvist is now there. Porter down to 3rd, Chiaro in 4th, Wyatt Jones 5th, Wessel in 6th, Catherine Hart 7th, Andrew Draco in 8th, Rich Koivanami in 9th still. Sakura Ishibashi now in 10th, Oliver Germain 11th, Artyom Kozlov 12th, Alicia Kovalkiewicz 13th. Glover for the moment is 14th, but remember, he has to make an extra pit stop here, and that pit stop will be coming within the next 3 laps. He will drop out of that top 15. Lecty will move up to 14th place. And right now, Isabel Espinoza would be in the last points-paying spot once Glover pits. Kenoshita, first one out of the points. Leroux currently sitting in 18th place. Felicevich in 19th, got around Alexander. Chavez unable to do so. In 21st position, Cameron Jackson 22nd, 23rd, Shufan Zhang, Michelin 24th, Neri 25th, around Sakurauchi, Porter Kelly in 27th. A frustrating day for that team so far. Asher Crane in 28th. We do have one car out and is an early retirement for Solomon Wells. An engine failure on the 14 will bring his debut to a very brief close in the first third of the race here in Auckland. So we're down to the standard 28. It is Hazel Leon that leads the way here in New Zealand. Hometown driver out in front here in New Zealand. We'll step aside for our first break for our local stations here on ABN. Don't go anywhere. The Verizon Champ Car World Series continues next. Welcome back, everyone, to the Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Auckland, Race 3 of the 2025 campaign here around the Glen Eden Street Circuit, the neighborhoods of Glen Eden and Acton Park. Playing host to the Katoto Music Festival and the Symphony of Speed that is the Verizon Champ Car World Series. We'll see the leaders, and we'll see the field going around turn 2 there. Your race leaders right here, Hazel Leon, the hometown hero. The Kiwi out in front. Leads the way, overcut. Worked out pretty magically on the first pit stop sequence. Pit on lap 29 went longer than anyone thought you realistically could, and it worked out really well. Grabbed the race lead ahead of Cyril Lundqvist, who also overcut, but not to the same degree. Those two now out in front by a decent margin at the moment. Porter in the 3rd position. Led a huge chunk of the opening portion of this race, 22 laps of the first 25. Caitlin Chiaro, the rookie for Ludwig Motorsports, leading the number 1 driver, Wyatt Jones, there, 4th and 5th for the team at the moment. David Wessel sits in the 6th position. Catherine Hart in 7th. Andrew Draco in 8th, but under pressure, here comes the potential of Rachel Koivuniemen peeking through turn 8. Trying to make a pass happen here. Tied on turn 8. Full throttle turn 9. Battle for the 8th spot. Does Draco have enough to close the door into turn 1? No. Drive out of turn 1, and Koivuniemen will shut the door on the way through turn 2 to take 8th place away from Andrew Draco. So Draco now in 9th. Sakura Ishibashi in 10th, ahead of Oliver Germain, and then there's a gap to Artyom Kozlov in 12th. Alicia Kovalkiewicz sitting in the 13th spot. Another gap to Nicole Lectie in 14th place. Isabel Espinoza in 15th position right now as things currently sit. Kenosha 16th. Leroux 17th. Velicevic 18th place. Alexander down in 19th at the moment. Maria Chavez 20th. 21st, Cameron Jackson. 22nd, Shufan Zhang. Mateus Michelin 23rd. 24th, Brad Neri. 25th, Karina Sakurauchi. 26th, Stephanie Porter-Kelly. Asher Crane in 27th, having come down pit lane for a puncture on car 80. And now out of the points is the Raz Cruise Racing driver, the Allison Alien. BK Glover in 28th, last car running. But all 28 cars running on the lead lap. As we mentioned before that commercial break, Solomon Wells out with an engine failure. His debut called short after just 23 laps. It's Leon out in front, a 2-horse race. Leon looking for a race win the first time this season, trying to win on home soil at the first opportunity to do so. Suri Lundqvist trying to go back-to-back after winning in Shanghai a week ago. We have opened up a pretty substantial gap, about 4 seconds to Evangeline Porter, the defending world champion, who has complained that the adjustments they made during that pit stop on lap 25 has put the car in the wrong direction. So now Porter trying to hang in there the best as she can. Down pit lane again. I believe that's Crane. It is Crane down pit lane again. And so Crane is now a lap down in 28th, and this race is unraveled for the 80 pretty swiftly. And we'll let Espinoza go by. So Isabel Espinoza will now have a buffer to Kenosha to try to hold on to that last points paying position at the moment. Koivuniemen on the attack once again. Pole sitter just trying to chip away and grab some positions after making that early mistake on the opening 3 laps. It was bunched together right now behind Porter, who is not happy with where that car is feeling at the moment. The top 2 have sprinted away with a 5-second advantage now. This 2-car race at the front of the field. Could be pretty pivotal. Well, right now, Lundqvist would take over the championship lead pretty well undisputedly, with where everyone else is sitting at the moment. A second race win would just put a pretty big stamp of approval on this one as we head back to Texas in 2 weeks for the first oval race of the season. Third to 11th, all in this line. From Porter down to Germain. Tight defense there for Leon. Drove a little bit, just a little too wide at a turn 2 there. It looks like the car's fine otherwise, but you definitely don't want to make a habit of that. Kenosha coming out of pit lane. Gonna hold up her teammate for a moment. Unscheduled pit stop for Kenosha. Oh, this is not gonna be pretty. This is not gonna be pretty. Kenosha's trying to stay on the lead lap, which is why she's fighting as hard as she is. That's a bit yikes. Leon counting her lucky stars that Lundqvist was not able to take advantage there. That was a very sketchy moment there for the teammates. Hearing now that was a scheduled pit stop there for Kenosha, they have pivoted to a 4-stop pit stop sequence. They have pivoted away from the 3-stop. They are looking to try to jump forward and get ahead and into the points here with a 4-stop strategy. We'll see if it pans out. It's a long pit delta. 37 miles an hour, 50 kilometers an hour. It does make that a little rough. But they think that the fresh tires may be worth it. We'll see if that's the case. Saw Glover there for a moment. Teammate Sakurauchi sitting outside the points at 25th as well. Only one impulse car in the points at the moment, and it is Artyom Kozlov, who right now sits in 12th. That's a very meager 3 points. For Team Impulse, the Works Toyota team. Oh, this could be a chance maybe for Koivunen to take a shot at Catherine Hart. But not quite. Not quite close enough for turn 8. Wessel stuck behind Wyatt Jones. Jones stuck behind teammate Chiaro. Chiaro trying to apply pressure to Evangeline Porter. We have crossed over the halfway point now in the second half here in New Zealand. This is going to be such a curious run to the second pit stop sequence. See how things play out here. Again, we still believe that Leon and company are on a 3-stop strategy right now. But Leon, if she can save an extra couple laps of fuel, could maybe turn this into a 2-stop and be good if she can get beyond lap 60. Leon leads the way. Lundqvist continues to apply the pressure. So battle for first, battle for third. Right now we're in a little bit of a Cold War phase. Maybe a little bit hotter in this battle for seventh. Kovac keeps trying to get runs on Catherine Hart. Hart just a little bit better on the exit of turn 7. Applying pressure there to Porter into turn 8. You see different lines being run there through turns 8 and turn 9, trying to find the optimal lane to grab the most speed out of. Kenosha's not really gaining time the way you'd expect on this 4-stop strategy. It does bear the question on whether or not this is going to be an effective strategy or whether or not they're going to sort of just be behind the 8 ball here. Espinosa sits in the last points paying position still. Only one car left down, that being Astra Crane, just behind Espinosa right now. A chance there for Lechty maybe to go after Artyom Kozlov, and in fact she will. The Swiss miss, taking out, trying to go after the Russian ace, and they're going to be side by side down the front straightaway. Kozlov trying to squeeze, trying to fade to the outside lane there. This is for 12th. And the Swiss miss. Lechty gets through. So Lechty takes 12th place back from Kozlov there. Bit of a draft train going on here from 3rd down to 11th. Greatest Porter that continues to lead that conversation, holding the last step of the podium. The pace is picked up here Everyone following Kenosha. Kenosha's picked up the pace, and it's lifting both Leon and Lundqvist 107.5s at the front of the field. They have opened that gap up pretty significantly once again to Porter and company that are struggling in the 108.1s. And Porter unhappy with that car is feeling at the moment, and it has checked up that entire group. While Kenosha, now with the fresher tires, a giving draft, giving slipstream to teammate Leon and Cyril Lundqvist, and just pulling them away. Pit window technically opens now for those that pit on lap 25, which would you'd be looking at Porter as someone that might be coming down pit lane early. And indeed, that's exactly what's happening. Porter comes down at the first opportunity. Lap 75 will be the next pit window for Porter. And now Chiaro and her teammate Wyatt Jones have the ability to try to open up a gap here. Grab some clean air and see what you can run pace-wise before coming down pit lane yourselves. Lefty has pulled away from Kozlov on this exchange, knowing the pit window is approaching for just about everyone in this conversation. Porter out of pit lane now as her teammate Velisevich goes on by. Porter will try to fight the 19 on the exit there of pit lane. Stalled the car. Wow. That was a disastrous exit for Porter. That could not have been much worse. Chiaro's down pit lane this time, and is the only one down pit lane this time. Kovalkiewicz thought about it, elected not to come down pit lane. So everyone trying to go a little bit longer here. And here comes Lundqvist down pit lane this time. How about Wyatt Jones? Looks like he might be coming in this time. And indeed he is. The 25 comes down pit lane. Wessel stays out. Koivu stays out. Catherine Hart comes down pit lane. So split strategy for the Phantom Motors cars. Saw a car coming out of pit lane. That is Alexander. Kovalkiewicz stays out an extra lap. There's Espinoza. And we'll see how this all pans out. Kozlov down pit lane. Pass position here potentially. Chiaro trying to get through. Fresh tires compared to the old tires of Chavez. Both of your battle for that P3 spot in trouble. And this could be trouble as well. That's close. Jones jumps ahead here. I think that's for the third spot. But everyone in traffic now. The overlap is pretty significant. Those coming up pit lane early versus those on the overcut. Still battling. This is Jones versus Velisevich. Works team versus customer team in the World Series. And Jones loses out there. And understandably, not the happiest about it. Cars down pit lane, a bunch of them. Koivuniemen, Wessel, Kovalkiewicz, Espinoza, Leroux. They're all down pit lane. Here comes Lundqvist. No question about who's in the race lead right now. That is Hazel Leon. Wessel leaving pit lane now. Pressure from Wyatt Jones behind, but he's going to leapfrog. I think this is potentially into the podium places. Maybe. But he's got those cold Firestone tires. Wyatt Jones is going to need to pounce. If he's going to have an opportunity, here he goes through turn 2. Again, Wessel's going to be under pressure for about a lap here to get those tires up the temperature in that 77 machine. But this is a battle for the third spot on the podium. More cars in pit lane this time. Leon, Chavez leaving pit lane now. Shufan Zhang leaving pit lane. Sakurashi leaving pit lane. Lundqvist through turn 8 now. Should not really be a threat for Leon. Leon leaves pit lane right now. And a pretty sizable gap to get those tires up the temperature and up to speed here once more. And here you go. Battle for third. Wyatt Jones through turn 9 has grabbed it. And teammates side by side on the exit. That was Draco and Hart. And Draco stumbles on the hurdle there at a turn 1. And here comes Chiaro. Draco into anti-stall there. Jones and Hart both got through for position there. So Hart now up to 4th. Jones now on the podium. But they are so distant from everyone else. Leon and Lundqvist lead the way, and then it's seconds. Complete seconds between Lundqvist and Jones. Wyatt Jones says personal best lap, a 107.3 in clean air on fresh tires. Kenosha right now in the last points paying position ahead of Isabel Espinoza, but Espinoza's got an offset here. Will have to come down pit lane again. But importantly for Kenosha, that will be her last pit stop of the race when she comes down pit lane here. So Kenosha could potentially be in the point scoring positions here in 15th. Kozlov 14th place, Lecty in 13th. 12th for Glover as he comes down pit lane. He will give up that points paying position once again, and he is on a different cycle. Germain 11th, Ishibashi in 10th, Porter in 9th, Koivuniemen in 8th, the national champion ahead of the defending world champion. Chiaro in 7th, Draco in 6th. Talk about a day that Phantom Motors is having right now. The team frustrated the first couple weeks. An engine failure for the third car of Solomon Wells. The other two cars, though, have had way better fortunes with having that third car on the racetrack. That was an extra car that they could grab data from. And so for the first time this season, a two-car team could fight with the three-car teams. And you're seeing the dividends of what that difference means technologically. This team's still not quite in the touching distance of, some of these other three-car teams like Lubbock Motorsports who have the resources like Arrowhead Racing, like Cat Devil Racing, that have been established three-car teams for a while. Obviously, they're still getting used to the Dodge powertrains as well, but 4th and 6th is no slouching matter at all right now. Former Phantom Motors driver David Wessel in the middle. So far, the team is doing well. Lundqvist is faster than Hazel Leon right now. 107.5 versus 107.9. It's not a particularly close conversation at the moment. It is, unfortunately, Lundqvist it does get to a point where she can't close anymore on Leon. 107.4 versus 107.6. Leon's turned on the jets a little bit, but still not fast enough to keep a meaningful gap. Jones in third, 107.4 as well. He's matched Lundqvist. He's faster than the race leader. Faster than the car behind, just barely. Importantly, BK Glover has worked hard enough to where he is now back position-wise. He is now gaining spots on those that were ahead of, that were sort of away from him prior to this. So he is now working his way closer to that top 15, seeing if he can do so. I don't think he's going to have enough time to really work to get to that top 15 because there is such a massive gap here just to get to the likes of Espinoza and Leroux. Kenosha in the 14th spot will have a chance to gain some pretty significant points here. She is off sequence by about 15 laps. But she is coming to her last pit stop. She'll be the first car to make her last pit stop in this race. We are 2/3 the way through here at the Grand Prix of Auckland. We're going to take a second break here for our local stations here on ABN. Don't go anywhere. More racing to come after this. Stay tuned to the sound of thunder. Welcome back, everyone, to the Verizon Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Auckland. Looking out at the exit of turn 2 as the cars hop the curb and rush into Glen Eden proper. Wyatt Jones has been on a hot streak. 107.1, 107.3 the last couple laps. Catherine Hart staying in close proximity here. Personal best 107.6. Sorry, 107.262 for Catherine Hart in 4th. They're trying to catch up to this battle for position here as Astra Crane comes down the pit lane. Sorry, Lundqvist and Hazel Leon, they are approaching lap traffic here. It has been caution-free so far across 66 completed laps of 90. Lundqvist in second behind Leon. Wyatt Jones in third, trying to close the gap. Catherine Hart in 4th. David Wessel top 5. 6th for Andrew Draco. 7th for Caitlin Chiaro. 8th, Rachel Koivanami. Advancing Porter in 9th. Sakura Ishibashi in 10th. Oliver Germain in 11th position right now, ahead of Nicole Lechty. Artyom Kozlov. Kinemitsu Kenosha, who still needs to make a pit stop, will be the first to make their final stop. Isabel Espinoza in the last points-paying spot ahead of Simona Leroux. Risa Kovalkiewicz in 17th. Taya Velicevic in 18th place ahead of Maria Chavez. Shufan Zhang, Elise Alexander, Mateus Michelin, BK Glover, Cameron Jackson, Stephanie Porter-Kelly, Brad Neri, and Karina Salcarauchi before you get cycled back to Hazel Leon, One car a lap down. That was Asher Cranway, as we mentioned, just came down pit lane to go a lap down. We are in the sprint to the finish territory here in New Zealand. Wyatt Jones has been on a tear the last few laps, really trying to close the gap in. I'd say this sequence of laps is probably the most impressive he has had, I think, in his career in Champ Car on the road courses. Obviously, his win in Valkenburg impressive, but he has been blisteringly quick here in Auckland his last about 7 laps. And again, it's all trying to close in on this battle for the top 2. Another 107.2 for Wyatt Jones. He is closing in by about 0.3 a lap. And it's needed because the gap right now is 5.3 from first to third. So he has a lot of gap to chew into here. As they approach lap traffic, he's going to have the opportunity to do that. But he's got to keep the pace up and keep pushing here. You've got an extra stop coming here. Burning these tires up for what they're worth. The window, for those that want to come down pit lane and make their final stop, the window's open. Leon closing in on Salcarauchi. Trouble for Michelin. Trouble for Michelin. Is he going to be able to make it back? No, he will not. And the caution is out. The caution is out. Michelin stopped at the exit of turn 1. The caution has come out. Everyone closing back in on the pace car here. And so with that, we'll step aside for a quick break. We'll be right back here from Auckland. First caution of the day with less than 20 laps to go. We're going to have a grandstand run to the finish. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to the Valvoline Grand Prix of Auckland here, race 3 of 24 in the Verizon Champ Car World Series campaign. Under caution for the first time, cleanup for Matheus Michelin's stricken Chevrolet at the exit of turn 1. Oil spill all along the front straightaway. But the lights are out on the Dodge Charger Super B pace car, which means we're getting ready to go back racing for a sprint. 12 laps when we go back racing here in New Zealand. Two retirements, Michelin and that of Solomon Wells. 27 cars on the racetrack, all of them on the lead lap. Asher Crane, 27th and last of those running at the moment, but on the lead lap with a chance to make something happen. It is Hazel Leon on home soil leading the way here in New Zealand. Auckland born, had a chance to win a race at home on a world championship scale for the first time, something not done since the 1960s. Bruce McLaren, the last driver to do so. This will be a wild restart. 27 cars all getting up to speed here. He's under control of the race leader. And here we go. We're underway. Leon and Jones versus Lundqvist. Who's going to have the advantage on turn one? It might be Lundqvist. It will be Lundqvist. Maybe. They're still side by side. Out of turn two, still side by side. Leon's got it. Jones in third, waiting for one of these two to make a mistake. The pressure is on here in Auckland. Side by side, further back, it is Ishibashi and Chiaro. Chiaro gets ahead of Ishibashi. That is for the 8th position. Got to keep it pointed straight and narrow. And they do. Espinoza, last points paying spot. Kovalkiewicz wanting to get into the points. Car in pit lane. David Wessel. False start infringement. He will fall out of the points. False start infringement for the 77. He jump-started before the leader went. That is a stop-and-go penalty. He will shuffle to 27th. The only driver to do so. Heartbreaking for David Wessel, who was in the top 7. Wyatt Jones around Lundqvist, trying to chase down the hometown hero, trying to deny a local victory here, coming to 10 laps to go. What can the 25 do? To try to close that gap in. Leon leads the way, has 10 laps to try to do something to hold on to this race win. Wyatt Jones closing the gap. Talk about putting things together. That's where we're at right now. Wyatt Jones trying to sequence the last 10 laps together perfectly. Got around Lundqvist. Lundqvist down to third. Captain Hart in fourth. Phantom Motors looking even better. 4th and 5th right now on the road. Koivanemi in 6th. Chiaro in 7th. Ishibashi in 8th. Porter 9th. Germain 10th. Lecty 11th. Leroux 12th. Kozlov 13th. Kovalkiewicz now 14th. 15th. Espinoza. Chavez 16th. Kenosha 17th. Schufenjang 18th, Alexander 19th, Glover 20th, Porticelli 21st, Neri 22nd, 23rd Jackson, 24th Sakurapchi, 25th Crane, 26th Velisevich, Wessel 27th and last. It is Leon out front, Wyatt Jones in second. 107.5 versus 107.6, 1/10 advantage Wyatt Jones. Under a second the gap at the front of the field. Wyatt Jones, so many times in his Cup Series career, was known as a closer. Able to finish off races excellently. We saw that at the Indianapolis 500 a year ago. Can he use that magic on a street course here today? Really good run through 6 and 7 that time. That gap's less than half. Looking about half a second, the gap. Coming to 8 laps to go here in New Zealand. Ford's first and second, as they have been a decent chunk of the race, has been Ford's top 3 the entire day. 3/10 shorter the gap. We're down to 6/10 at the line. Lundqvist in third for Dodge for Arrowhead Racing. It's Dodge's third through sixth at the moment. Lundqvist, Hart, Draco, Koivanemi, and then you have the next Ford in line, Camyron. Your best Honda right now sits in the 8th spot, ahead of the defending world champion, Evangeline Porter. Oliver Germain, another Ford, top 10. Your best Chevrolet right now is 11th place. Nicole Lechty. Simona Leroux in 12th. Artyom Kozlov for Toyota for Team Impulse in 13th. One of the Escuderia Aguila cars will be in the top 15. The question is, will it be Espinoza or will it be Chavez? Without a hiccup from one of the top group, one of the top 10, you're not going to have a chance to get both of those into the top 10 or into the points right now. Wyatt Jones closes in more at the line, 107.6 compared to the 107.8. Jones is there within 0.3. This is going to be a very sketchy gap. Wyatt Jones a lot worse there on a turn 2 that go around compared to Leon. We're coming to 6 laps to go next time across our finish line. Through turn 6 and turn 7. A lot of curb. Use that to get the car pointing in the right direction out of turn 7. And see what you can do. Heavy braking to turn 8. This lap looking a little bit better for Leon compared to Jones. Lundqvist in third. Again, hoping these two tango and mess each other up. 107.8 to 107.7. A 10th advantage there for Leon that time around. 6 to go. Wyatt Jones used part and parcel to get around the 97 of Lundqvist here. Lundqvist, no matter right now what happens, as long as the top 3 finishes on the cards, Lundqvist will be championship leader leaving New Zealand. The question is the margin. Catherine Hart getting very close to that wall out of turn 7. But hangs in there. Feels like Leon might be able to hold Jones at bay for another 5 laps. 107.6 versus 107.7. Another 10th in the hand for Leon. Lundqvist seems to imply that she wants to tango for the second spot once again. 107.6, match the race leader, a 10th better than Wyatt Jones. It is Honda first, second Ford, Dodge third. But it is Dodge third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Your next Ford will be down in 7th with Camyron. Right now, all 3 Lotus Motorsport cars really giving some pretty serious points to the team right now. But it's all eyes at the front for Hazel Leon, for Cat Dove Racing, and for Honda. Trying to make history with 4 laps to go. 4 to go, and Wyatt Jones is right there on the gearbox. 108.2 versus 107.8, 4/10. Wiped out in 1 lap. And the money laps are here. Leon applies defense, protects the inside lane out of turn 2. Not a lot of passing opportunities here through turn 3, all the way through turn 7. It's all about setting up the attempt to pass in turn 8. Over 61 laps led for Leon at the moment. Can she lead the final 4? A lot better than if he turns 7 that time for Leon. Gives space. Very crucial space. What's it going to be at the end of this race? 108.1, 107.6. Yeah, a half-second swing in favor of Leon, the hometown hero, trying to lead the way with 3 laps to go. A little over 6 miles left in the Grand Prix of Auckland. Down towards turn 3. Really good run right now for Leon. Race engineer in her ear saying just focus on the car ahead. Focus on the cars in front. Coming to 2 laps to go. Even spacing in the top 2. 107.8, 107.9. Wyatt Jones a little bit quicker that time. 108.0 for Lundqvist. Just trying to, I think, consolidate that 3rd place finish at the moment. Wyatt Jones closing in again. He's only going to have 1 more lap after this to try to go for the race lead. Right under the tire tracks with his 34. Misses the apex there just a little bit there for turn 8. And that gives a pretty good gap to Leon. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go in Auckland. Over 50,000 fans here. Witnessing history for the first time. Will their hometown hero be the one to take a checkered flag? Tiptoeing around. Through turn 4, down to turn 6. Turn 6, turn 7 for the final time. Keep the momentum, keep the run. Turns 8 and 9 for the final time for Leon. Domination from that first pit stop sequence. The strategy worked out. The defense was better. Hazel Leon wins at home. She wins the Grand Prix of Auckland. Cat Devil Racing's first win of the season. She held off Wyatt Jones, who grabs his first podium of the season. Cyril Lundqvist finishes 3rd and takes the World Championship lead as we head to Texas in 2 weeks. Catherine Hart and Andrew Draco double points after having just 1 point through the first 2 races. Now they have hands full of points here in New Zealand. Rachel Koivuniemen, the pole sitter, an early mistake, throwing away a chance at a race win, recovering to 6th place at the end. Kaylin Chiaro, once again, top rookie honors, 7th. Sakura Ishibashi 8th, Evangeline Porter, the defending world champion, again in the points in 9th. Oliver Germain in 10th. Nicole Lectie 11th, Simona Leroux 12th. Artem Kozlov, 13th. Alicia Kovalkiewicz in the points in 14th. Isabel Espinoza will score 1 point for Escuderia Aguila. And will now match her teammate, Maria Chavez, in the points there. Chavez 16th. Kenosha 17th. Shufin Jang 18th. Elise Alexander 19th. Ahead of BK Glover, Steffi Porticelli, Brad Neri, Cameron Jackson, Astrid Crane, and Natalia Velicevic, Karina Sakurauchi, and David Wessel. The false start penalty on the restart, completely destroying his race from the top 6. He finishes 27th today. An exciting race here in New Zealand. Three races in, the points have taken a pretty significant swing after the race here in Auckland. Let's start with the driver standings. Here, after 3 races, Hazel Leon, the bonus points. Important to tally in your new championship leader. Siri Lundqvist only 1 point away, sitting at 43 points. The Leon's 44. Richard Koivanami, consistency is key. Only driver to finish top 10 all 3 races this season. 34 points for the Finnish driver. David Wessel in 4th for Highlight Racing, ahead of Caitlin Chiaro and Wyatt Jones. The 2 Ludwig Motorsport teammates tied with 30 points in the top 6. Steffi Porticelli, an amazing race in Melbourne, continuing to carry her points tally, but not having points scored in Shanghai or here in Auckland is going to hurt. BK Glover in 8th, Nicole Lectie in 9th, Alicia Kovalkiewicz top 10 of those that have scored points. 25 drivers have scored at least 1 point. 4 drivers have not yet scored points. Kenosha Wells, who made his debut and had an early retirement. Shufin Zhang among those without points scored. Matthias Michelin has 3 points scored. Thought he went scoreless the first 2 races. That was not the case. So we're at 25 drivers with points scored here so far. Asher Crane 11th in the points on the driver's side. Evangeline Porter, the defending world champion, in 12th. Oliver Germain in 13th place. And that's Catherine Hart with a massive points haul, up to 14 points for Catherine Hart. Sakura Ishibashi with 13 points. Andrew Draco going from scoreless to 11 points in 1 race, ahead of Artem Kozlov, Natalia Velicevic, Simona Leroux, and Karina Sakurauchi, your top 20 in the point standings after 3 races here in the World Championship. On the team side, a huge shuffle throughout this running order. Arrowhead Racing, top of the board still. It's the battle of the juggernauts here at the top of the board. We talked about at the pre-race how the 3-car teams need to use this season to use that numbers game before we go to 2-car teams mandatory next season. And we're seeing that. 95 points for Arrowhead Racing, 75 points for Ludwig Motorsports. Cat Devil Racing, the race win, helping buoy them up to 3rd place as the Works Honda team. Highlight Racing in 4th, Verizon Team Impulse in 5th. It's closer in that mid-pack now. 50 for Highlight Racing, 43 for Verizon Team Impulse, 38 for Striker Motorsports, 25 for Atomic Autosport, now level with Phantom Motors in 7th. Roscrews Racing, only 1 car in that operation, being that of Astrid Crane. They sit 9th ahead of Swift Autosport, who is relying solely on the points from Simona Leroux. Dragon Motorsports, scoreless the last 2 races. They sit 11th ahead of Scuderia Aguila, who have scored points the last 2, but it's been 1 point apiece over the last 2 races. But that'll do it from us here in New Zealand. A wild race, but a successful race here in Auckland. We'll see you again next week for the Challenger Series. They're in Fontana, California for their first oval race of the season. The first oval race for the World Series is in 2 weeks' time at Texas Motor Speedway. It's a packed house in Fort Worth to end out the month of March and to begin the month of April here on ABN. We're glad you're with us. We're glad you joined us for an amazing race here in New Zealand. behalf of everyone here at ABN Studios, ABN Sports, Verizon Corporation, the Champ Car World Series, and all of its partners, stay safe and stay healthy. We'll see you next time out in Fort Worth. So long, everybody.